Hi, this is Alleson Gregary, and today we are here for Conversations with Your Higher Self with Emily Harris, or Emily Ghosh-Harris. This beautiful star seed is an astrologer, intuitive. She does so many magical things. She works with light workers like ourselves and helping them get their businesses set up. Welcome, Emily.
Thank you, Allison. Thank you so much for having me. It is such an honor to be with you and your community.
You bet. You bet. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
You did.
Okay,
Yep.
good. Well, let's start with telling us a little bit about you and your awakening journey. When did you first make that connection and know there was even such a thing as the higher self, or were you always this way?
I wasn't. I started, as many of us early on, very empathic, and I quickly shut those gifts down. I grew up sort of in a kind of chaotic environment, and so feeling was a little bit too much at times. And so, what happened was I kind of, as I shut those gifts down, followed sort of a scripted formula. And I, was doing all the things that, were taught in the 3D world are values of success. So I, got the MBA and was working in corporate America and, had a really great job. And, those things were great and they were working until they weren't working any longer. And for me at that time, my life was really go, go, go. And what was sort of the, catalyst for me to go within was a relationship. And that relationship was a painful one, as many relationships are that force us to go within and to wake up. And that was kind of the first initial wake up call that I couldn't ignore anymore, because I, even though I wasn't super self-aware at that point in time, I had the awareness that relationships are mirrors, and we are attracting in that which we need to learn from, and that there is some type of divine reflection there. And so that allowed me to really go within and embark upon a journey of self-awareness and self-healing. And one of the first tools I found at that point was NLP. So my journey really started in the mind, because at point in time I was really in the left brain, on a day-to-day. And so NLP really helped me to understand my subconscious. And at that point in time, I would have considered myself to be a very, pretty positive person. But as I began to do some more deeper healing work, I began to unearth some of those limiting beliefs and trauma that was hanging out in my subconscious that was really waiting to be cleared. So in that journey, and it really goes on from there. I believe that we were continuously on this journey of evolution and growth and discovery. And so that was a turning point. But from there, I really followed sort of this guidance that I received. From that period of time, I was able to develop this connection with my higher self that I wasn't attuned to before. And so I started receiving downloads and started receiving guidance, and started to actually, act and listen and follow through. And I feel like, with that formula, it's like you start to follow the soul.
For those that don't know, it's MLP. What is that an acronym for?
Neuro-linguistic programming.
Okay. And what exactly did that open up for you? Or what's it designed to do?
Yeah, so NLP is really a tool that helps you reprogram your subconscious. So understanding what, beliefs are there, and then beginning to rewrite those beliefs.
Powerful. What were some of the biggies that came out of that for you?
Unworthiness, unworthiness is probably my biggest one, that I've worked on, on clearing. And so that was the biggest one. And I think there, there's other little beliefs that are kind of, tied to that, or woven in some way, shape, or form.
That seems to be an empath's, burden to carry, is unworthiness, doesn't it? It just seems to go hand in hand for some reason.
Yeah, it can be a common one. I think that in society today, self-love and really like radical self-love is one of the most powerful tools that could really transform our planet and beyond.
I just had a conversation last week with a gal, and she called it being spiritually selfish, which you should be. I mean, you really should take that time to go within. And that's really the biggest gift you can give yourself. That's really the best way to show yourself love, is to do everything that you did in that time period when your heart was broken.
Yes, I 1000% agree. And another sort of big catalyst and turning point for me on my journey was right at the end of 2019, going into 2020. And at that point in time, I had started my own business, and um, I really had, although I had done a lot of healing work and, you know, really started to, cultivate this love for astrology and, different tools that were really profound, have been profound in my journey. I still carried that sort of energy and that pace of go, go, go. And around that time, I was feeling such burnout. And I also just had this intuitive feeling like everything was going to be different. And I wasn't sure, what that was. Um, and really, I wasn't sure if that was a collective feeling, but I knew that on a personal level, everything was going to be different for me. And, I feel like, sometimes on our journey, if we're not listening, if we're really out of alignment with our soul, we can have sort of like a dark night of the soul moment, you
Or
know,
many.
or many, right? But it does get easier because we're like, oh gosh, yes, I've done this before. Like I do want to listen. I want to go within. I know how to surrender. And, we can course correct. And that was my experience, was like, I'm going to surrender. I'm going to release that which no longer serves me. And at that time, it was really letting go of a big portion of my business. And that felt, very scary at the time, but it was something that I felt in my heart that I was meant to do. And that was January 2020. And then the pandemic happened, which was, yeah, such profound timing. But that was, again, just such a turning point for me to really, really be able to slow down, to really be able to go within on a even deeper level.
What kinds of things did you see open up for you at that time?
Gosh, I think my connection with my higher self really deepened at that time. I was able to hear in a way that I wasn't before. I began to start to notice how I could create with my heart and my soul, as opposed to, having some limiting beliefs kind of come in and self-sabotage, because I believe that we are all such infinite creator beings, and we can, magnetize that which we desire. And I began to see that on a subtle and increasing level, as just really being able to focus in on, you know, small changes or things that I wanted to create, to bring into being. And whereas in the past, maybe there would be like a self-sabotage, or, oh, you can't do that, or, you should be doing this. Things started to open up to me as I allowed myself that really self-love and, ability to listen and, follow my own guidance.
What do you feel are some of the biggest self-love things that someone can do for themselves, like right now, just to get started? If say you're in that place of total unworthiness, what would you say to a friend that's in that place?
Yeah, there are so many things that we can do. I think one of the biggest things is to really hold ourselves in, in an embrace that we would, a child, and really wrap ourselves with so much love and so much, nurturing, and that might be something that our inner child is craving. And just to be able to develop that relationship with yourself, of holding yourself, even through the uncomfortable moments, even through any shadows that arise, any, uncomfortable, you know, parts along the journey, that is the basis, I believe, the formation of this deepening of a relationship. And then, slowing down, honestly, I think is such a beautiful gift that we can give ourselves, and going within, whether it's, meditation or breath work, or just spending out, time out in nature. For me, I love taking baths, salt baths. It's a really like relaxing thing to do at the end of the day. Journaling, I think whenever, for me personally, it's like connecting with myself and spending that really quality time of like recharging and nourishing my soul, basically. I think, it's all of those little moments that are, such gifts of self-love.
Mm, absolutely. And you touched on a good point too, is letting that inner child out. We get so structured and so rigid in our container that we don't just allow space for fun and joy and goofiness. I mean, that really right there, I think, can blow things wide open too.
I totally agree. Yeah, I know. And that's something, I love that you bring that up, because that's something that I've totally noticed on my journey, is like, removing some of that, Brooklyn, our, mutual friend, she calls it the serious suit. And it is, it's like, oh gosh, I realize like how much of my life has been sort of in this kind of serious, work, or, the masks that, when we allow that to come off, and to really, what's beneath that is, the children that we all are, that love to play and to create and to be, and yeah, so that's just really beautiful to be able to allow that to come forward.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's a total game changer. So, talk to me a little bit about some of the things that you've been dabbling in. Like, I know astrology is one of them, and you did a reading for me a while back, and was very, I felt it was very accurate, but it feels like you bring in some intuition into those readings as well, because you were kind of uncovering some things that felt like you were looking deeper than just the chart you were looking at. Is that true?
It is, yeah. There's something about a natal chart. I do believe that in some ways it is, a divine blueprint that we can look at, and I believe that we have many. But believe that being able to look at that, it's like artwork, where you can kind of, it tells a story. And for me, it's like there's intuitive downloads that come in when I look at somebody's chart, and also, connect, whether it's through an energy reading or something like this, to be able to kind of combine those modalities when I'm working with a client.
It feels like that's kind of starting to become, or has become in the past few years, commonplace. Is there is no one singular modality. It's like, take some of this, take some of this, take some of this, put it together in what works for your soul, what feels right intuitively to you. Have you found that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think so, because I think they're all can be so beautifully woven together. and I think that we all have different and unique gifts, and to be able, why limit ourselves? I think that there is so much sort of fluidity between many modalities.
Now, as far as the astrology goes, what sparked that interest for you?
I think I've always been drawn to it. I received readings before I even really, connected or wanted to study it. And I had a reading during that time with that I described when I was in a relationship with. The reading was with Deborah Silverman. And that was such a funny, I mean, she's just such a blunt and hilarious astrologer. And that was, activating reading for me. But I think I was always really, drawn to it in some way, shape, or form. And I took a course on astrology and started to learn, connect more with the planets and the energy of the planets. And then I just started to get every, astrology book that I could find, and, just become the passion and the love for it, continue to grow.
When you look back at little Emily as a child and you see what sparked her light and what really got her excited, what are some of those things, and how did they translate to Emily now? Because I feel like we all kind of, we know our path when we're young, and then we lose that. It gets tamped down and we get all these rigid beliefs put on us, and we lose that. Can you see any of those threads in your life?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that as a little girl, I loved to play and to create. Like if we were making necklaces, I would put like every single color on the necklace. I would just like so colorful and no pattern. I just wanted, and if I was, baking a cake, I loved to bake cakes with my mom, and she would follow the recipe. And, I wanted to, combine as many, bizarre and strange ingredients as possible. I love just kind of creating things and doing it in a unique and different way. So I think that definitely is a thread that's carried through into this present moment.
I totally see that in you, very much so. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So you also, which I didn't mention at the beginning, have a podcast called The Soul Collective. And you talk to some really fascinating and unique people that are pretty famous in the spiritual community. And tell me about the top two that really stick out in your head, that just like we're like, wow, this person is more amazing than I had ever imagined, or this person gave me this amazing download of wisdom that never even occurred to me. Have you had any moments like that you could share?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like almost every episode that I've, co-created has met me where I am. There's been some, divine spark of wisdom or insight that's come through, and it's touched my heart and it's impacted me on my journey of, wherever I've been in that moment. I love talking to Martha Beck. She's a Harvard trained psychologist, I believe, and coach. And she talks about 1 degree turns, which I think can be so helpful. It's just like sometimes we feel like it's overwhelming to create change in our lives, but really it can just be the small steps forward, the small changes that make such a big shift. And so I love that, because it is. And also, just thinking about, getting even more in tune with that which feels out of integrity. And one thing that she did was to never tell a lie. And she started on New Year's Eve, and it's just her life actually went, wildly in a different way because she was
Wow.
following her true north, and she has an incredible journey. But what I took away from that, which I think is so valuable, is that when we really attune to our true north and that which feels out of alignment, and have the courage to say no, to eliminate, it's incredible what opens up in our lives.
Yeah, we have an epidemic of saying yes to everything, don't we? Where it's not really in your highest and best interest to do so. Huh. Well, that 1 degree turn hit me where I'm at right now. So I
I love that.
appreciate you bringing that up. Tell me some more about some of the other modalities that you work in. Now, you and I both have a background in broadcast television,
Yes.
our rigid corporate careers that we had.
Yeah.
I don't believe you were on air. I was never on air, but we certainly saw enough of that dysfunction, to get out of it. Talk a little bit about how that, now I guess I've thrown 2 questions in here at you at once. Talk a little bit about how that has formulated how you run your business and what you do. That dysfunction and how you've altered your business to be more functional and of the light, should we say?
That's such an amazing question. It really, really impacted me. As I'm sure it did for you as well. I think being in the mainstream media and seeing it up close can, really create an awareness of, the that it's a business, that there's, the revenue that is, driving the business. And so I also saw, how media is such a powerful tool. And that is really what inspired me to start Soul Media, is that I wanted to be able to harness that tool for positive change in the world. And I believe that life always gives us clues of, what is our divine purpose and path, and how that is, unfolding. And for me, there were a couple, moments of that. One, was after 9/11, and when there was a lot that was taking place on the media around weapons of mass destruction. And I don't know if you remember that, but that was kind of like, used as a focal point, shall we say, to, go invade Iraq. And, I was in college at the time, and I was studying international relations. And so, I was really fascinated with how all of, the interplay between, the world, and to see that, I started reading books and, really kind of going down and exploring other, news sources and things like this. And I think that passion of wanting to uncover and understand and look, deeper, was something that was really strongly a part of me, even before that. There was a moment in high school, I remember, and I wrote a paper on the effects of, really, really violent video games and violence. And so I think there was always this thread of understanding that there is this powerful thing that we kind of, know as media, know as this interface of technology, and wanting and desiring there to be able to harness that for good, and to really, eliminate the manipulation in some areas. So that was something that definitely stood out, and was a kind of a catalyst for getting into the work that that I'm doing in the world.
Wow. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, there's a lot of fear-based manipulation that goes on. And the whole business aspect is really a hard one too, because I entered the industry as a creative type. And to always be pulled back to the bottom line, always be pulled back to what we need to do for the shareholders. All of that was always out of alignment for me. I'm like, but I'm a creator being. I'm here to create. No, but you must think about the shareholders and how much money they're going to make. And I'm like, but I make minimum wage. What's going on here? So it is a very eye-opening industry for sure, as I'm sure applies to many other corporate entities across the board.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's get off that subject and have some fun, because this popped up as I'm talking with you and I'm like, oh, I bet Emily would play this game with me because you're my adventure buddy.
Yes.
And I know you're always up for being adventurous. So with your astrology background in mind, and we're going to test me too, because we're going to see if I can remember all the signs of the zodiac. I'm going to go through each sign and you pick their top 3 positive traits that apply to them.
Okay.
I want to keep this happy and uplifting. So I'm going to start at the beginning of the year and go through, because that's the only way I believe I'm going to keep the names correct. I can't do it the proper way because it always seems like Pisces is at the end, and being a Pisces, I never like that. So January, we have Capricorn.
Yes. Hardworking, goal-oriented, focused, driven, motivated.
Nice. Bonus words. Aquarius.
Free thinking, dedicated to the collective of humanity, innovative.
Nice. Pisces.
Ooh, Pisces. Pisceans are mystical, dreamers, creative, connected to higher consciousness.
Aries.
Aries are, courageous, they're initiators, they're fearless, they're fiery.
Good. Taurus.
Oh, Taurus, there is, a love of the senses, connecting with the body, connecting with the physical, multi-dimensional, multi-gifted.
Nice. Okay, Taurus comes next. Don't help me. Capricorn. Am I missing one in between?
Gemini.
Gemini. How could I forget that? That's my husband. Gemini.
Oh, so you know this. So Geminis are curious. They're, talkative, interested in, connecting, sharing ideas.
And then it's Capricorn, correct?
Cancer.
Oh, Cancer. Yes, the other name. Okay.
Yeah. So Cancers are intuitive, they're nurturing, they're sensitive, they're, deeply connected to their emotions.
Okay. Is Libra next?
Leo.
Leo. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. This is fun. I love it, by the way.
I'm not as good as I thought.
You're doing great. Leos are leaders. They, share for the love of performing from their hearts. They're, the king or queen archetype. They're the child, the performer.
Okay. Yeah, totally don't know what's next.
Virgo.
How could I forget that?
Yeah. So Yeah, so Virgos love to be of service. Virgos are, hardworking, detail-oriented, down to earth.
Now we're in Libra, right?
Yes, you got it. Yeah, so Libras have a love for beauty, for harmony, for balance, for fairness.
Okay. Scorpio?
Yes. Yeah, so Scorpios want to go beneath the surface. They're interested in, that which is, deeper and, intuitive and mystical and, you know, uncovering and inventive and, you know, deep thinkers and feelers.
Okay. Sagittarius next.
Yes, Sagittarius. You know, Sagittarius, I think of as adventurers, as, you know, lovers of knowledge, lovers of truth, lovers of, you know, discovery. Their archetype is the archer. So setting their sights on something and, you know, making it come to fruition.
Wonderful. You are good, miss.
That was so fun. Never
Yeah.
played that before.
Okay, now we're gonna do something else fun because I just love having fun with you.
I do
You're
too.
such a good participant. Grab the deck, the oracle deck closest to you right now.
Okay.
Okay, let's do a card pull for the collective. How does that sound?
Sure.
However, whatever kind of spread that you like to do is fine.
Okay. Yeah, let's do a spread for this year.
Which deck do we have?
This is John Holland's Psychic Tarot deck, which I absolutely love.
So you do tarot as well. Interesting.
Mhm.
I didn't know that about you. I just learned something new.
So fun.
I like the oracle decks because you don't have to have knowledge of spreads or like what certain categories mean.
Yeah, and this one's kind of, I would say, a blend between Oracle and Tarot. So I'm going to do a 3-card pull for this year.
Okay.
And this is so fitting, I would say, of kind of, you know, where we're at. So the first card, I don't know if you can see that, is,
Oh, beautiful artwork.
yeah, it's a gorgeous deck.
And what does it say?
It says transformation, which we
Oh.
are really in the midst of, you know, so much transformation, so much growth and change. You know, I think that as a collective, you know, I think that right now we're going to continue to experience so much personal growth, especially this year. One of the things that I think is interesting is that there's 4 eclipses this year, and there's usually 3. And eclipses are really all about personal transformation. So I think that this, you know, we all, I feel like, intuitively know and feel this time is so potent and rich for being able to, you know, have such profound growth and transformation. And, you know, like we talked about before, that can come sort of with grace and ease, or it can be in, you know, more of a sort of strenuous feeling transformation, right? So it kind of is up to us in terms of how we wish to experience that. The second card that I pulled is obstacles and challenges. And what I love about this card is that with obstacles and challenges, there are always opportunities. You know, it is like, I feel in my life personally, it's like the biggest opportunities come from the moments of challenge.
The transformation comes from that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. And then the third card is the base chakra, which I think is going to be a really important year, you know, kind of theme for this year, of grounding, like really connecting into our bodies, into our physical bodies, feeling grounded. The North Node is in Taurus, shifted access from Gemini, Sagittarius to Taurus, Scorpio. And, there's such, I think, a call for that physical connection that Taurus likes to have with the earth, with the senses. And also just kind of a focus, I think, on values, on resources, on relationships, on intimacy that we have with ourselves and how we share that with, people that we love, people that are closest to us. And the final card, I pulled just an energy card overall on the energy of this year. And it is material and spiritual prosperity.
Oh, I like that.
Yes, which I absolutely love. And I think, again, this relates to one of the themes of this year with that Taurus North Node about resources and that which we value, that which we find value in, which we, find to be beautiful and abundant, and really tuning into that which brings us joy and that we would like to cultivate more of. And I just love the energy of that reading, to go into this
Oh,
year.
so perfect, so perfect. And I just want to, because I'm a big proponent of getting out into nature, and you and I do that a lot, is to just get out there in silence, just commune with what's going on around you, take a nice, beautiful, long walk, and that will help you keep balance throughout the year too, because it's still going to be topsy-turvy for a while. So we need to find those moments where we can connect and ground with Mother Nature.
Yes, I love that. And I love doing that with you. Our time out in nature and even, just whenever I can, is like taking a walk and getting fresh air. And yes, it makes such a big difference.
Away from the electronics and
yeah,
out in the cleanliness of Mother Nature. For folks that are interested in connecting with you, Emily, talk a little bit about some of your offerings. Give us a little background of the things that you can do for those out there.
Yeah, so right now what I'm offering is a soul purpose planning session, which I absolutely love co-creating. And it is, we use the natal chart as a guide, as, one of the blueprints, but it really is an opportunity to go deep and to create without limits. And one of my gifts is to really help activate others and to, be able to ground in their, big picture dreams into reality. And so I think it is that Virgo Piscean placements that I have, and you do, I believe, as well. And so it is like that big picture dreaming, connecting with that which is on your heart, on your dreams, what you're feeling intuitively called to create. And then how do we take, practical aligned action forward to bring that into, physical form, because it's already there, it's already in your field. And, it's just a matter of, really connecting with it in a material way.
And you are very good at bringing people's skills to the forefront, and then, for lack of a better term, laying out the business plan on how to attack that as your purpose, I guess, for lack of a better word. I feel like I'm using very corporate words all of a sudden. Like, wait, I want to say that, but that's kind of what it is.
Yeah, it is. It's that combination, the left brain, right brain is like, just kind of, combining those together.
Very wonderful. Well, my dear, I certainly appreciate you being here today and spending time with us. I'm going to put all of your information below so folks can connect with you. You are multi-talented, so Emily is a wonderful person to know and have on your side too.
Oh, so much love to you and your community, Alleson. It's such a pleasure to be with you today.
All right, my dear. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.